Hey everybody, what's up? Now today we're actually going to be talking about why you should get a 2015 MacBook Pro in 2020. Now this might seem like a weird thing to do considering it's now 5 years ago and there's been a lot of new products released, but there's a couple of reasons as to why it actually might be quite a good idea for people especially going into the new academic year and going and studying at places such as university or college. So firstly, the main reason that I'm actually going to deter you from buying anything after 2015 unless you want to go with the new version of the 13-inch or 15-inch is because of the keyboard. So the actual original 13-inch from 2015 still had the normal scissor switch in the keyboard, as you can see here. And that worked very well until Apple decided next year, you know what, let's go ahead and put a butterfly switch in there, which was their own proprietary design. Which folded on both edges instead of just one like the scissor switch. Now they thought this was going to be great because it slimmed it down and it made it nicer. It made it more like an Apple product, made that Mac laptop slimmer and more like it was a touchscreen heading towards that instead of a physical keyboard. Now, the issue with that is that it actually got dust trapped in it, and every year they changed it by putting in different membranes, saying it was fixed this year, it's fixed this year, but actually they ended up opening repair programs each year to let people go ahead and get their laptop replaced if the keyboard was a problem, which it was for a lot of people, and then they get it replaced and then they need it replaced again and again, and it's just a huge hassle. And then eventually, if you have the laptop for more than 4 years, so the 2016 version now, you're probably not going to be able to get the laptop keyboard replaced, which is very annoying and can actually make the laptop unusable, unlike some older defects. Now, that is just a problem that personally I wouldn't want to go ahead and invest into, especially for the amount of money that these newer ones cost. And if we are directly comparing the 2016 to the 2015 version that I'm talking about today, yes, it looks much more modern than the 2016 version and all of that, but speed-wise, very, very similar. Although yes, as you get 2017, 18, 19, 20, they do get faster, but the prices also ramp up a lot. And my next point is actually that it's not like an iPad. Yes, you can get an iPad for a similar price, which I would wholeheartedly recommend to anyone that is not looking to do anything such as video editing, photo editing, or just install any normal laptop-based programs. I would definitely recommend an iPad. So if any of you are looking at checking out an iPad instead of a computer because you aren't going to use the full-fledged programs, definitely check out that video here. But in the other case that you want the laptop, it can do a lot more for the same price. In terms of that, yes, it might not be as fast because it's not using Apple silicone, but it runs Intel and therefore is on the x86 platform and runs any app you might want to throw at it in a reasonably well, such as Final Cut Pro for me. I edit all my videos on there and it runs 1080p perfectly fine, it exports really quickly. So as long as you're using Apple programs, maybe Adobe Premiere Pro will still be able to edit 1080p, but 4K would be a bit of a hard one to throw at it in Premiere Pro. In terms of gaming, it is a MacBook, so that's probably not your best bet if you are looking to do some gaming. Furthermore, it also has the latest update of macOS on it right now and will most likely be getting the next couple, which is a great thing. And just like Apple's iPhones, they are supported for a long time, although it's not directly comparable to Windows anymore, as Windows just stays on Windows 10 now. Another benefit you're going to get from this is the old design. So it actually does have ports. It has a USB, has a micro SD, it has HDMI, it has another USB, and it also has Apple's MagSafe, and of course a headphone jack, which is just a great thing, the MagSafe, so you can trip over the wire and it will not pull your computer off the desk as it would in the new ones. Now you don't have USB-C, which can be a drawback for some, but personally I prefer to have a micro SD card and the other ports such as the HDMI over having 4 USB-C ports. Another thing in terms of design that is great is that it has Apple's trackpad in the 2015 version that is the same as any version newer than that. They didn't have it in the versions prior to that, such as 2014, 2013. It's the Force Touch one, so you can click anywhere and it feels the same, which is great and makes it feel more premium and more like the newer versions. And I love that feature personally. The one issue that I would say that there is in getting a MacBook this old is, yes, the speed, but also the fact that you are now over 4 years old, which take it out of Apple's repair program. So if you don't actually have warranty on an Apple product and there's a defect such as the keyboard issues in the newer ones, or in this one for example, there are issues with some models having the screen delaminate, as you can see in these photos here. Mine, it happened very minimally, and back in 2018, took it to the Apple store, they replaced it for free, which was great, so that's why I like Apple customer service. But the issue with that is that nowadays, you might be able to get it if you're very polite and you have a good Apple employee that is gonna, for some reason, let you replace it even though it's out of warranty or out of Apple's coverage. But even though it might not be as fast as the new ones, as you can see here, it still runs programs very well and may hiccup every now and then, just in some daily tasks when you have way too many things open. But if you do get the 16GB of RAM, as I do have here, and maybe a higher tier processor such as the 2.9GHz i5, it is definitely a good buy. So just to be clear, the options you have are a 2.7GHz i5, 2.9 i5, and then an i7, which doesn't actually change that much and puts the heat output too high, so I wouldn't recommend that version. And then in terms of the SSD, you have 128, 256, 512, and I believe 1TB. Anything from 2256 above will be perfectly fine for most people. That's what I have. And then in terms of the RAM, you can get 8 or 16. I would go with 16 if you can find one. If not, 8 will be fine unless you are going to be doing some video editing. And that is mainly the specs you're going to be looking at in the 13-inch. So overall, this iPad is a great buy, especially if you're heading off to college. I'm going to use mine if I go to university, definitely for 2-3 years still to come, because it just works very well. It's Apple, it's made out of metal, which is very, very nice. The unibody design is great, and in general, it's a timeless look as well. And Apple products, they last. And when I say that, I mean they will last in terms of value. Once you buy it, it's about £550–600 now for one of these models. You're probably only going to lose in the next 2 to 3 years, maybe up to £200, maybe, if that. And because I bought mine back in 2018 at the start of that year, and I bought it for £750, slightly overpriced. It's just the only one I could find at the time, but I realised there was actually cheaper ones. I could probably get mine sold for about 600 to 650 because it does have the 16GB of RAM. So they keep their value well, and in the long term they're a great investment. It'll work well for you. So there we are. Hopefully this has given you guys an insight into why you might want to buy that laptop instead of one of the newer ones, and why it's actually going to be good for most students now going to university or back to school. I hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you in my next video. Have a good one.